it's not just about the back pain, it's about the IBD, it's about the exhaustion, it's about the mental health aspects of it. My name is Maranda van Dam. I'm 49 years old and I live in Hersham, South Africa. I'm a single mother of 2 boys. I run a brand activation company, and in my spare time, I look after patients that's just like me. I remember going to my GP and I started telling him about I'm extremely tired, and I said to him my lower back's sore, and I remember telling him, you know, it's like a buck that's rammed into the back of your hip bones. And he said to me at the time that it's fatigue. Fatigue is normal, you know, and the pain you have is probably just back pain. And I remember going home with a script, feeling unseen and unheard at the time, to be honest. And getting back home, taking the medication he's given me, but I wasn't feeling better. I went back to the doctor again, and I mean, in total, the journey I took was 9.5 years. I ended up at a gynecologist, and she thought my pain and everything was due to women problems. And they cut out my uterus. Can you believe that? And on it went. So I lost my uterus. I remained with the symptoms. And in total, 15 doctors in total. And the last doctor I saw, I remember very clearly, said to me that maybe I need to go and see a psychologist. Maybe there's something wrong up here. It took somebody that referred me to a very, very special doctor that had the insights. I remember going to him with a file this big to have the insight to do the correct testing, and I was finally diagnosed.
My name is Jack van Dam. I'm 20 years old. I live in South Africa, and I study psychology at the University of Stellenbosch. How it felt to get my diagnosis, it was quite upsetting, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, what kid has arthritis, you know what I mean? I was 15. So, yeah, I remember in the moment, I remember the car ride, I was very upset. I was mad, why me? Why did this happen? I was worried. Can I play rugby? Can I still do the sports I loved to do at the time? It was a very disorientating feeling, and it felt very scary.
The way I felt after Jack was diagnosed was devastated. Absolutely gutted. In my wildest dreams, would never have wished this disease upon anybody, let alone my own son. I was absolutely heartbroken. I was scared, I was petrified, you know, he's only 15. This is his formative years.
Having axSpA, it affected a lot of my life. Sleep was something I couldn't pretzel myself onto the bed at night. As a kid, at 11, I remember feeling, my back was sore, I needed to sleep upright with posture. That was never something I thought to need to do. And I'd look at my friends and they'd be lying all mangled, and I'd be so, why couldn't I do that? My associated conditions with axSpA are extremely prevalent with me. I would say more so than my back pain. I have 2 physical ones and an emotional one. With physical, I have psoriasis, which is the dry flaking of the skin on my hands. Then I have enthesitis. This is an inflammation in my feet, and that can cause a lot of pain in terms of walking around. It would be very difficult for me to stand for long periods of time, walk for long periods of time. I would end up sitting down a lot, lying on my bed a lot, to try and deal with that issue. With emotions, fatigue was a thing I struggled with a lot, I would come home from school and I'd be, so tired, I wouldn't be able to focus studying was a difficult thing for me. I just didn't have it in me, you know, I just couldn't do it. The hardest part about having axSpA, I would say, would be my fasciitis, my foot pain, just the pain in general. I mean, no one sees it. People just assume that you're good, you're fine, you look great, right? But meanwhile, you're doing a lot to cope with your condition, you know? I walk on my toes when I was a little kid. And I never knew why. I never understood what my body was doing. I just did it, you know, it was passive. It was my way of adjusting.
When my son was diagnosed, I started realizing how easy it could be for a parent to overlook symptoms that would seem common in a teenager. Because, I mean, teenagers can whine, right? And teenagers have growing pains. And teenagers can have sporting injuries. So it could be misunderstood. And if I misunderstood the warning signs that came my way from Jack, he would have been misdiagnosed too. And I mean, his was definitely more than back pain. He's got enthesitis. He walks on his toes. He has really bad psoriasis on his hands. I call them crocodile fingers. That often cracks and bleeds. And I can also see that mental health for him is also a big thing. So for me, it's definitely more than just back pain.